Hey, third grade. Welcome to my favorite part of Monday, the genre mini lesson. This is where we get to read our new text for the week. Let's look at our purpose. I can identify features of a limerick and free verse poem. We're going to read poems today, and poems can be really fun. They are a little different than what we call prose text, which is made of paragraphs. Poems are made with stanzas. Okay, let's see what our to-do is today. Watch this mini lesson video, and then when you're done, complete 11/30, November 30th, Monday genre workbook page. You can click the workbook page, or you can click this link to get to your Reading Wonders backpack. So, our purpose as readers today. I can identify features of a limerick and free verse poem. These are some of the poems that we're going to read today. Empeñada Day, Cold Feet, Our Washing Machine, and Bugged. So since our purpose is to identify features of a limerick and free verse, let's look at a limerick. What are some features of a limerick? It is a short, funny poem that rhymes. Each stanza has 5 lines. So a stanza is kind of like a paragraph, but it's in a poem. The first, second, and fifth line rhyme. We're going to look deeper into that when we read our poem. The third and fourth line rhyme. That's a limerick. We also want to identify features of a free verse poem as we read this week. A free verse, exactly how it sounds, free and verse. It does not always rhyme. So it could sound like a really, kind of like an awkward story. So it tells a story, but in a poem. And it can have any number of lines and stanzas. So we are going to look closely at Cold Feet. And then we're going to answer our questions. You will read a poem today in your workbook, and you will answer questions. Now remember, our number one purpose is to identify features of a limerick and free verse. Our questions are going to ask us about a limerick poem today. So we want to identify those features of a limerick poem. And as readers and writers, we know that when we answer questions, we always restate an answer to form complete sentences. So we really have 2 purposes. 1, identify features of a limerick poem. 2, restate and answer our questions. So let's read our poem. Cold Feet. An inventor with feet like ice and toes like 10 shivering mice looked at clothes, studied feet, read about cold and heat, and knit the first socks warm and nice. Okay, so I'm going to remember my features. I can go back in my slideshow and I can look at my features. It's a short, funny poem that rhymes. Yes, this is a short poem, and it is funny because it's about cold feet and how an inventor compares his cold feet to shivering mice. I thought that was really funny. I also think it's really cute. Picture shivering mice. And the first socks that were ever invented, that's kind of funny to even think about. So check is a short, funny poem that rhymes. Each stanza has 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 lines, and this is one stanza about the same idea. So each stanza has 5 lines. Check. The first second, and fifth line rhyme. Let's check that. The first, second, and fifth line rhyme. Ice, mice, nice. Those words all rhyme. Check. The third and fourth line rhyme. Let's check that. The third, so here's 1, 2, 3. Feet rhymes with the fourth line. Heat. Feet, heat. That ending sound sounds the same. So, check. We met all the features of a limerick poem. Now that we know all the features of this limerick poem, let's use that information to help us answer our questions. This text is a limerick. Which lines in the limerick rhyme? The first, second, and fifth. The third and fourth. Okay, so we want to restate this question. Which lines in the limerick rhyme? So which, that's my question word. So I'm not going to include that to start my sentence. Lines in the limerick rhyme, so I need to make that make sense. The lines in the limerick that rhyme are the first, second, and fifth. Then the third and fourth lines rhyme. What is the poem about? Again, cross off your question words. What is? Now think about how you can use these words to form a complete sentence. The poem about? That doesn't make sense. This poem is about? This poem is about, well, it's about an inventor who has cold feet and invents the first sock. An inventor who creates the first pair of socks to keep feet warm. That's really funny. Who created the socks? Again, cross your question word off so that you can restate this question. The creator of the socks is the inventor. And our last question, limericks are usually funny. Do you think this poem is funny? Explain. Okay, so I have to find my question word. My question word is do. So I'm going to cross that off. And I'm going to think, how can I start this? How can I restate this question so that I'm forming a complete sentence? Instead of saying, you think this poem is funny, I could say, I think this poem is funny. Or I could just say, this poem is funny. Because as third graders, we always want to write why. This poem is funny because the author compares the cold feet to shivering mice. That's what I thought was funny. You might have a different detail that's funny when you read your poem today and answer your questions. So third graders, let's review. Our purpose as readers is I can identify features of a limerick and free verse poem. Today you're going to focus on the limerick poem. So think about these features to help you answer those questions. That's your first purpose. And your second purpose, always restate those questions to form a complete sentence. Okay, good luck. Have fun. These are awesome poems.